Welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Thousand Games. I'm your host, Gaming Jay, and today we're checking out Rolling Thunder, 1986. Now, this game may look a little dated. It's from the 80s, but and in fact, I'd never heard of it, but I have seen the NES version. And the NES version looks rough. I think it's still considered a pretty good game, but it's like one of the early NES games. You know, the NES launched in Japan in 83, North America 85. Kind of the early to mid 80s NES games were quite rough because they didn't have extra ROM chips in them, so they were usually running on the pure NES hardware as its limit. So the sound effects, the music's all a little rough around the edges. That's where I know this game from, but despite not really being familiar with the game, I was reading that this game actually inspired games that would come, like big games that would follow, like Shinobi. Like, apparently you can take cover behind crates when you're shooting at guys, and Time Crisis, I think, took advantage of that. So, yeah, it's we're going to be playing this in a moment. The computer's sort of serenading us with the opening here. But I think, you know, when we play these really old games, I mean, first of all, I think the graphics and some of the pixel art and stuff always holds up in my personal opinion. So I think the game looks pretty rad. But it also does look a little basic, and sometimes when we play these old games, it's hard, or it's easy to sort of just write them off as like, oh, this game sucks, or crap, or it's so basic. But I mean, it's like, you got to remember like how complex games were at the time. Like, things like Shinobi didn't exist. So things that you would see in here that might look like, I don't know, like crappier versions of what you'd see in Shinobi, might have been the things that actually inspired Shinobi. You know what I mean? Like, people hadn't seen these things. Anyway, Green Goblin guy, he is our nemesis. And by the way, Namco was like the king of the arcades back in the day. Holding down start button and moving control to the right. Oh, we can just skip levels? Maybe we'll try that if we have trouble with this. Let's start in Area 1. And so here we are. Red Shirt Man fighting against, you know, like, what are these guys? They're just like guys and like, it's like the predecessor to the Foot Clan almost, you know? Like, these are like, oh, I just got bullets. Oh, you can go into the rooms and get bullets and stuff. You know who these guys remind me of? I don't know if you guys have ever watched The Venture Brothers, but it was one of my favorite TV shows. I mean, I would say it still probably is, but I haven't rewatched it in a few years because, unfortunately, the show ended, and long story, they kind of got screwed out of a proper ending. They were able to do a movie, but, okay, well, I'm talking about The Venture Brothers. Anyway, after I said I would not talk about The Venture Brothers, oh, I got a machine gun now, too. So The Venture Brothers, great TV show if you haven't seen it. It's sort of like The Tick in humor style. It's basically like superhero, super spy kind of parody stuff. It came out years before the superhero hype train really like got going. So it's like it was way ahead of its time. But I think it's only makes it a better show to watch nowadays. But it is anyway, amazing show, funny show, and they had 7 or 8 seasons. I think it was 7 seasons. And at the end of the 7th season, it ended on a cliffhanger, and they had already been renewed for an 8th season, and it said, like, the Venture Brothers will return. And then Warner Brothers got bought out. You know, all that stupidness happened with them canceling Batgirl and other things, and Venture Brothers was one of the casualties. The idiots who took over were like, you know what? Even though we already renewed you for an 8th season, we're going to go ahead and renege on that. So they just straight up canceled the show, leaving the entire thing on a cliffhanger. Luckily, the geniuses at Adult Swim, and I say that non-sarcastically, because Adult Swim is not part of the managerial, the corporate idiots who canceled all the great Warner Brothers stuff and screwed them over, the buyout. But the Adult Swim people were able to like negotiate a movie at least. So rather than a whole other season, they got a movie, which means the Venture Brothers kind of The ending is a little forced and rushed, but not because the creators wanted it that way. It's because Warner Brothers basically... It's truly one of the most disappointing ends to one of my favorite shows of all time. I couldn't believe it. When I found out they canceled them, I was legit sad. like I legit took an evening to myself. You know, that's how sad I was. It's almost like the companies that make these amazing shows and stories give a fuck about the stories and just want to make money. And it's very short-sighted because you know, I mean, you know what that kind of reminds me of is the ending of Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones was like a cultural phenomenon, and then this time it was the artist guys, not the company. But the ending got botched, right? And now it's Game of Thrones went from being a cultural phenomenon to a show where it's yeah, do you really want to bother rewatching that? And yes, I know House of the Dragon has made a lot of progress in sort of trying to bring the well, if I run out of bullets, what happens? Trying to bring the franchise back and make people actually care about Game of Thrones again. But I mean, it's just not the way it was at the peak of that show. It was everyone talked about it. those henchmen were chanting there. Anyway, so what a long convoluted story for me to basically tell you that these henchmen remind me of the kind of henchmen you would see in the Venture Brothers. Because the Venture Brothers parody superheroes and super science, like Johnny Quest kind of stuff, and Marvel things and everything. So, yeah, these are basically the kinds of henchmen you would see in the Venture Brothers. Here. Oh, I can't make it up there. Oh, I got beat to death by Purple Hood. Oh, God. Oh, my God. So tricky. But yeah, I guess having ammo, I really don't know what happens if you run out of bullets. I'm gonna try and not. Oh god! That's a tricky part to get through. Game over! Oh, we don't even get to continue where we want. Maybe we do. I can be remembered for all of... Hey. Jazz. Almost misclicked. Alright. You push one or two buttons. Okay, we do get to continue. We'll keep going. We'll try and do this game straight, but we may have to at some point. Oh, I got one-shotted. Damn. Look at how big my health bar is. It's 9 points of health, and one bullet takes me down. That is hardcore, man. Trying to preserve my ammo now. Although I know it's not infinite. Oh god, a bullet to the back of the head and a bomb. One more thing I will say about Venture Brothers is it has oh shoot, what's the guy's name? I'm thinking of him, David Puddy from Seinfeld. Plays oh, that part is so tricky. He plays Joe in Family Guy. Patrick Warburton. That's him. So if you like Patrick Warburton, you gotta check out the... You know what? Even if you don't, you guys gotta check out the Venture Brothers. You gotta check it out. It's a great show. I feel like everybody probably has a favorite show of theirs that has been canceled before its time. Or just didn't get its just desserts. You know, there are obviously good shows that people like that ended poorly. You know, Sopranos had a pretty controversial ending, and Seinfeld and stuff like that. Then there's other shows that just have decided never to end, like The Simpsons. Right? It's they probably could have ended that show a long time ago, but they just keep going. I've said this before. I don't even know what channel The Simpsons is on anymore. I don't know anyone who watches it. That's another show where, when that show was at its peak, it was culture. You know, it's everybody watched The Simpsons. Every time a new episode aired, everyone the next day was talking about it at school, at work. You know, it was in the news. Nowadays, I don't know if it's currently airing right now this time of year, I don't know what season it's on. I don't know what channel it's on. I don't know anyone who watches it. Never heard anyone talk about it. When people talk about The Simpsons, they talk about like season 7 episodes, like classic Simpsons. So I'm sure like it's still out there, and if you do like it, power to you. But it's like one of those shows that like I don't know if that will ever end. It's just like I don't think they can end it now. They've kind of committed for all time. Tricky. Boom, boom, boom. Eat that, henchman. When I gotta go up here. Pretty elaborate level, actually. Do I have to go over here? Yeah. Run out of bullets! Oh man, that was a long fall. Oh, it starts me here. That's cool. Oh, that jump is brutal. That's a hard jump. I wonder if I can insert quarters while we're playing so I can get some lives. Not gonna bother my initials again. I bet a lot of arcade machines in the actual arcade had a lot of Actually, they probably didn't because they probably had real high scores. So it's like some random chump isn't gonna necessarily. I guess getting on the high scoreboard mattered a lot more when you played in real arcades. Every arcade game I've played for you guys has obviously just been on emulator here, and so when I get on the high scoreboard, it's like you get on it every time because it's like an untapped board, right? But if you really went in the arcades, you see real high scores. I never thought of that. It always felt like so easy to get on the high scoreboards, but I'm like playing a very, different version of these arcade games. Not a different version, but it's like you actually had to work to get on a high scoreboard in the 80s. You're playing at home on an emulator, you do not have to work for it. Get it for free, baby. But anyway, I feel like everyone's got like a favorite show that got canceled before its time, or just the ending didn't live up to the hype. Oh, I can jump high. Can't jump high at an angle. Oh, God. Right! Fuck! Oh! Oh, but now what? Now I'm just screwed. Okay, I gotta put a quarter in now and see what happens. And 1. Okay, putting in a quarter does nothing. The goggles, they do nothing. It's early Simpsons right there. That's McBain playing Radioactive Man. You know the episode. You're in the. Oh God. There we go. Oh God. Boom. Keep the bullets flying. Somebody. He knows he wants to get me, but he doesn't want to get got. Oh God. Go in this door. Oh God. No. Okay. Supposed to go this way. The screen is like scrolling right near the edge here. Stressful. Oh, take him down! What are you doing? The bullets went right between his legs several times. Ridiculous. Anyway, the question I've been trying to get out, I keep getting distracted, is what is an example of a show that you love canceled before its time? I can think of one other that it wasn't as like, I feel like Venture Brothers is like a cherished TV show to me. Again, it's like probably one of my favorite TV shows ever made. It's brilliant and funny, and it's about superheroes and science, and it's like everything I love all rolled into one. But another show I can think of that got canceled before its time is a show called Pushing Daisies. I don't know if you guys ever heard of this. It was by the guy who did Dead Like Me, which also was canceled before its time, but I actually didn't really watch that one too much. I knew of it, and I knew people who did watch it, and so basically Dead Like Me is about a girl who dies, and she becomes a Grim Reaper who has to like reap the souls of other people who are about to die, and she joins like a team of Grim Reapers, and they kind of have to like work off their debt so that they can, oh God, so they can sort of move on. Oh God. And that one's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Like, I have seen episodes, and I don't dislike it. I didn't get as into it. But Pushing Daisies is about, it's almost like a fairy tale. It's like a modern fairy tale show. And it's about a guy who has this ability to touch a dead body and then bring it back to life. That's the hard part. And the dead body can stay alive for as long as he wants. But if it stays alive too long, then somebody else dies. It's sort of like death will get its due, you know. It's like you can't bring somebody back forever. And the other trick is after, so he brings bodies back by touching them. And after somebody's been brought back, the next time he touches them, they die for real. And they can never, ever be brought back by him. This is awkward. Guys, son of a bitch. Okay, the white hooded guys have guns. I will get past this level. I will do it, guys. Don't think I won't. You can laugh at me all you want, chubs. Coming for you, in face month. Anyway, Pushing Daisies, and then so like the premise is that this guy, he runs like a pie shop. He's a pie maker. And he's just trying to live a simple life, but a private investigator, detective guy, finds out he has this ability and convinces him to help him solve crimes. So they'll find, like, you know, a dead body, and then the pie maker will touch the body, bring it back, and then they will, like, try and, like, ask relevant questions and, like, solve mysteries. It sounds like really dark and scary, but it's like actually really like playful and fun. Again, it's more like a fairy tale kind of thing. Like, you just have to look it up. But anyway, it is more playful. And then the one other sort of element to the story is that the pie maker, when he was growing up, he had there's a neighbor girl who lived next to him who he was in love with, and she kind of like went away and he like didn't see her. And then she ends up being like, I think one of the first dead people that he encounters when he starts working with the private investigator, and he brings her back, and then she's basically like Zooey Deschanel. Like, she's so like kind of cutesy and like, you know, manic pixie dream girl kind of, and he can't bring himself to like touch her again to sort of kill her, and so somebody else ends up dying. But once that has happened, it's basically like, well, I mean, you might as well stick around forever at this point, because they've already paid the cost. So what they end up doing is, through the whole show, she can't touch him or she'll die, but they fall in love with each other. So it's like a very sort of interesting sort of like love story between them. Oh God. And anyway, that show did not get a proper ending. I think it got canceled. And I have read online, you can go on Reddit, and you can read like fan ideas for how the show would end. And there's all sorts of like fun, like interesting ideas, like, oh, he touches her again, but it doesn't kill her. And then they find out a new rule that if somebody has been alive, if they've been brought back for like X amount of time, and they haven't died, then they get to live forever, you know? Or there's like another one where it's like he's become really old and he's on his deathbed, and she's the same age because she hasn't aged because she was brought back to life, but it's like she was brought back to life when she was 20, where she's a normal human, you know? So there's like things like that. There's like a mystery in the show about like his mom ran away when he was a kid, and one fan theory is that his mom had this power and he got run over by a car and killed when he was a kid. So the mom touched him to bring him back, and then she couldn't bring herself to like let him die, so she ran away so that she would never have the opportunity to touch him again. So he's also one of these people who's been brought back, kind of thing. Yeah, anyway, just again, more of a fairy tale than like a serious, oh God, kind of story, but it's like, it has so many like interesting ideas and stuff in it, and yeah, it never got a proper ending. They just straight up canceled at one point. They're like, forget this show. So another one. I think there's like 2 or 3 more that of like my favorite shows that have been canceled. Oh God. But I can't think of them in the moment. I'm not even gonna try because it just distracts me. Yeah, anyway, long story short, what are some favorite shows that you guys might have that also got canceled that you are sad about? Know in the comments below. I wonder if any of the shows you guys mentioned will be some of the other ones that I could list up. I'm trying to think now. You know, one show that I absolutely love that I can't believe has not been canceled, and I feel like now never will be, is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That show is hilarious. If you guys have not seen it, that is a hilarious show. Although, truthfully, I think I watched it all the way up to like season 11, and then oh my god, and then I just lost track of it, and so I haven't watched it in years. But I know they're up to like season 18 or something. They're basically like The Simpsons at this point. Like the longest running sitcom on TV. And I think I will go and watch it at some point, but I sort of haven't been in any rush because I'm sort of like, yeah, I mean, one day I'll sit down and be able to marathon like 8 new seasons of the show. And I guess I will say one thing that maybe did slow me down on the show is the early seasons. They had like 8 or 9 like solid, really good seasons. Like most shows, by season 3 or 4, they're kind of burning out. 5 or 6, they're definitely like changing and not as good as they used to be anymore. Oh god. So for a show to have like 10 seasons, they're basically like gold. Crazy. But they had a season or two where like rather than 9 out of 10 episodes being amazing in my view, it was like 3 out of 10. You know, there was a lot of filler. So it's like I kind of lost track of it around that time. Hold on, we're going to try and skip a level. Holding down the start button, moving the controller. Okay, we can try area 3. I like how it just straight up lets you skip. I don't know if... Oh my god, there's like monster men. I don't know if that's intentional, like we're in some kind of like debug mode of... Oh god, oh my god! Jesus, look at the screen, so many henchmen. But yeah, so It's Always Sunny. I wouldn't say the quality dipped, but it's like, whereas like every episode was like knocking it out of the park, they started to have some episodes that like, were just like decent, in my view. I wouldn't even say bad, but just like not as funny as they've been. And they set such a high bar, you know. So it's like I sort of lost interest a little bit, but I wouldn't say I'm done with the show, you know, like far from it. Like I'm definitely coming back to it. And then another show that I love that I feel like is just going to keep going now is Rick and Morty. I mean, it's had its ups and downs. It's had some of the funniest TV I can like think of, and then it's had, you know, some like okay episodes. And then it had all that like craziness with Justin Roiland. But I feel like it mostly pulled through, you know. Let's try this level a bit more. But what else is... I definitely, I feel like there's other shows that I mean, like Arrested Development at its peak was amazing. It sucked that that one got canceled. But then, unfortunately, the revival attempts were awful. So it's like one of those things where, like, when it got canceled, I was like, man, I wish they didn't cancel it. I wish they'd bring it back. Then they brought it back, and I'm like, man, I wish it had just stayed canceled. This is rough. God, I could jump up. Boom. Just jump down, I can. Oh yeah, machine gun blit. It's machine gun belt, but you guys get the idea. Boom. Yeah, eat it. Oh god. Those little like monster men. Difficult actually. As they jump. Hard to hit them. Here with the monsters. Oh no, the monsters found me! The monsters can jump! Back off! Oh, you know another kind of show that the Venture Brothers parodies that these guys are reminding me of is G.I. Joe. There's like a whole season where like they have an equivalent of S.H.I.E.L.D. in Venture Brothers, and one of the guys from S.H.I.E.L.D. basically... Well, S.H.I.E.L.D. actually kind of turns into a G.I. Joe organization. Long story short, they have like Cobra references and stuff. And yeah, if you like superheroes or like Saturday morning cartoons from the 80s, and you have not seen Venture Brothers, you're doing life wrong. You gotta get on it. And actually, I think for the most part, you can just start watching Venture Brothers for free. I think I have the Adult Swim app on a lot of my like smart TVs, and they always have marathons of Rick and Morty and Venture Brothers. So you can just go and start marathoning it. You don't even really have to start at the beginning of the show. Like, you'll figure it out really quick. But if you want, obviously start at the beginning. But if you just want to jump in, I think like a lot of shows, the first season is probably the slowest of the entire show. But by like the third season, they really hit their stride. So like, you know, if you're iffy on the show, like I'd say hop in a little later and you'll have a lot of fun. All you need to know is like Johnny Quest, G.I. Joe, superheroes, Shield. You know, if you understand all those references, you're good to go. I feel like they're gonna pop out. Oh god! Oh, a bullet and a punch to the head. Like I wasn't messing around. He's like, I'm getting rid of this guy. This Race Banner looking guy who is also legit in the Venture Brothers. I guess that's another thing. The Venture Brothers was made after Adult Swim bought all the Hanna-Barbera characters. So they literally have... Johnny Quest is literally in the Venture Brothers. He's grown up now and he's kind of like strung out like a junkie because his dad messed him up as a kid, taking him on all those adventures. But he's in the show, like literally Johnny Quest. And dad's bodyguard or whatever, Race Band. I think Haji's in the show at one point. If you get these references, gold, man. I just gotta say. But you know what? I like you. Okay, holding down start. Try area. How many areas are there? There's only 5, so we're gonna check them all out today. You're here for the whole show, guys. I like how they just straight up let you... I mean, I don't think there's any bosses or anything, just from what I can tell. Just sort of seems like various levels that we're going through. Come on. Oh, you know what was a great show that got canceled? I'm just thinking of it now. This is the TV show episode, guys. Freaks and Geeks. Seth Rogen, James Franco, Linda Cardellini. I think she's married to James Gunn now. She's Hawkeye's wife in the Marvel stuff, and Rocket's friend from his flashbacks. Who else? Oh, the big guy, Jason Segel from How I Met Your Mother. Geez, who else is it? Busy Phillips. And the guys who wrote the D&D movie, the recent D&D movie that had Chris, what's his face, Captain Kirk, and I'm blanking on everyone's name. But basically, the guys who wrote that, they were child actors on this show. Freaks and Geeks, if you don't know, again, what are you doing with life? You got to go watch this show too now. It's about high school in the 80s. And there's 2 groups that get followed, the Freaks and the Geeks. The Freaks are like Seth Rogen, Jason Segel, James Franco, Busy Phillips. And they're kind of like the scumbag kids who like hang out behind the bleachers and they smoke weed and they do drugs and stuff. But they're not bad guys. They're just, I think what's really cool about Freaks and Geeks is like it reminds you of the kind of people you went to high school with, where it's like, yeah, there were some people who were like, you know, kind of like troublemakers, but it's like they were still like they had, you know, they were still good friends sometimes, you know, and they weren't like evil people or anything. So it's like the Freaks are not bad or anything. They're not bullies. They're not like the bad guys or anything in the show. They're just like a group of high school kids. This is like how they're doing it, you know? And then there's the Geeks, which is Linda Cardellini. I'm probably getting her name wrong, but the Hawkeye's wife. Incapacity's bad. She is like a new addition to the Freaks. She used to be like a mathlete, like a prim proper, like super studied really hard girl. and she comes to school one day and decides that she's like done with all that. She wants to like live, and so she like starts hanging out with the freaks. So she goes to parties and all this stuff and gets in trouble, right? Then she has a younger brother named Sam, and Sam is still like, you know, kind of a goody two-shoes and stuff, and his friends are the Geeks. So he has, you know, like they sit at their own table by themselves at lunch. They get bullied a lot, and you know they want to go see Star Trek and you know, go see like Bill Murray movies and stuff. They think that they're cool, but they're not, and you know, Sam has like a crush on like this girl who's like a cheerleader, and it is literally, if you went to high school in life, you will love Freaks and Geeks. Because even though it's set, I mean, it's set in the 80s, so there's all sorts of great 80s references. Really early 80s though. So it's like, I think Sam wants an Atari at one point. Like the Nintendo doesn't exist. Don't get your hopes up. Okay, hold on. I'm going to wait until I can select Area 5. They play D&D in one episode, which is great. Oh, and that reminds me, Community is a great show, too. Which sort of got canceled, but then it got revived on Yahoo. And that is actually one show where, like, the few seasons it's revived on Yahoo are literally some of the best episodes. So, oddly enough, Community, I would say, it dips right around the time it gets canceled, and then it comes back. It's like the opposite of Arrested Development. Where Arrested Development, I think, was still going pretty strong when it got canceled, and then when it came back, it was awful. Community is like, I kind of understood why it got canceled, because it did dip when Dan Harmon left and stuff. And then there was all the, like, you know, the cast kept shuffling, and like Chevy Chase left, and then Donald Glover left, and it's like, can this show go on? But then it was like, oh my god, they did some of the funniest episodes ever after all of that. And it's like, wow, like up until the end, up until that final season, it was actually, I mean, up until the final episode, even the final episode was great. Like it was a very well done revival. But yeah, Freaks and Geeks, if you've never seen it, you definitely got to check it out. It is great. I guess it was early Judd Apatow. So yeah, but it's a good one, really good one. I kind of want to go watch it now, actually. I'd never heard of it. By the time I saw it, it had already been canceled. But it's one of those shows that, like, it was on like NBC in the early 2000s, and if it had been made for Netflix nowadays, it would be like up there with Stranger Things, where it's like one of their flagship shows, and they're like making, you know, more and more of it. But you know, because it was on NBC, they didn't even know what it was. They're like, well, it's not Seinfeld, so just cancel it. We don't understand, you know, shows that actually have stuff going on. Okay, I got another show though. This really is a TV show episode, so. I mean, I could talk more about the game, but I mean, like, we're in like a factory now. We're just shooting more bad guys. There isn't too much to say, you know, so I'm on this rant. I'm going to run with it, guys. Glow. Have you guys seen Glow? That was a show on Netflix with one of the girls from Community, Allison Brie, I think. She is just... Can I just say she is like the cutest girl out there? Like, she played Annie on, and she was so funny. She was so cute. Definitely had like a crush on her, and but she plays Ruth something in Glow. And Glow, it's about GLOW is an acronym, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, GLOW. And so the Glow TV show was on Netflix, and it's about women wrestlers in the 80s, and about this sort of like ragtag story of like, it was sort of, you know, how it was like put together and created. It's fictionalized, but there really was a Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. Not, oh, you can go back here. That's kind of cool. It's not totally made up, but a lot of the details of the actual show are just like fictionalized versions of what really happened there, or just totally made up. But it is funny, it is dramatic, it is interesting, and for someone like, I didn't really ever care about wrestling in the 80s. Some people loved it and stuff. To me, it's like, it just like, it's obviously fake, right? Like when Hulk Hogan gets up there and is like pretending to punch a guy. He's not actually punching him. Like if you've seen UFC, they actually hit each other. Like wrestling is fake in that sense. But I guess what I never appreciated is, despite being fake, it is sort of like improv sometimes, very jazz style. So it's like the wrestlers know the moves, but they don't always know exactly everything that's going to be happen. Even if it's scripted, it's kind of like a soap opera, how like there's like drama and vengeance and all sorts of stuff. Anyway, I mean, wrestling is more complex than I ever gave it credit for. I just sort of wrote it off when I was a kid and said, I'm not interested. But Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, Glow, actually taught me that I was wrong. And upon, because in Glow, some of the characters are like making fun of wrestling. Some of the characters who get cast as wrestlers are making fun of wrestling. And they themselves end up discovering, oh my God, it's like, it's performance, it's physical, it's showmanship. And anyway, that was a great show. It ended on a cliffhanger for what was supposed to be the final season. It got renewed for the final season, and they said it was going to be the final season, and COVID happened, and Netflix was like, canceled. Like, friggin' delay it. Don't cancel the damn thing. Like, it just... Why? Why? Why do the things I love always go away? I feel like Fox. I mean, I know one that everyone always brings up, which for me actually is not one that I ever watched, but Firefly. Everyone always is like, man, Fox canceled Firefly. And Fox actually canceled a lot of good shows back in the day. They were pretty notorious for like making a new show and then just canceling it. So probably if I thought hard, I could come up with some Fox shows that got canceled. I mean, Fox canceled Family Guy. Fox canceled Family Guy. Like one of the longest running TV shows now, right? I mean, I don't watch Family Guy anymore. I kind of lost interest after the first couple seasons of the show. It still has like funny jokes, and I think Seth MacFarlane is a very funny guy. But just like not super interested. Just with it. Okay, we'll do one more credit. But Fox canceled Family Guy, and it got brought back, and they got canceled, and they got brought back. There was like something where it was like they kept canceling it, and then like DVD sales were crazy, or like the fans kept harassing them. They're like, oh, I mean, people actually watch this show, and they like actually brought back a hit TV show. Fox used to cancel stuff all the time, and then I know like streamers are notorious for things, but I'm having trouble thinking of a show that was actually canceled. I feel like there are a couple shows that I've gotten into. I don't know, maybe I'll come to it. But I feel like I've talked about enough TV, so I don't really need to, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah, really curious how many of the shows I've listed off here today you guys agree with, how many you've watched. Have you guys watched things like Freaks and stuff, and do you agree that you really enjoy it, or maybe you watch it and you're like, this is trash. The show is a trashy. If so, that's fine. Doesn't make me decide I'm not gonna like it. I get it. Oh God. Ew. Oh God. What I have to do. This is tricky. Oh my God. They're coming to kill me. How are we supposed to get past that part? That is nuts. This is actually a hard level. I mean, it's the final level. This is one of those old games that has like 5 levels, right? Like it literally has 5 levels. They made them like hard as balls. They're like, well, we don't want people to get bored of this game, so just make it super hard. More enemies! Send more enemies! I think this part I could get through in theory. Do it. I have to just... Oh, God! Not do any of that. I meant to jump. Okay, I'm going to try one more quarter here. We're really going to focus. I'm not going to talk about TV shows for this last run. Look at the high scoreboard. Is all... Oh! There isn't an actual name left. A bunch of... Oh! I feel like I almost need to go back and play Shinobi, because I'm like, this game like supposedly took stuff from it, but I'm like, I mean, there's like very big characters, you know, not like Mario-sized characters, like actual like correctly proportioned humans. And I'm sort of like, what else did Shinobi take? I mean, I guess this is, you know, if Shinobi didn't exist and a lot of other video games, I could see how this could lead. That does make sense. Like very human-sized guys going around fighting ninjas. Oh god. Okay. Jump. Oh, I went to jump again. Gotta get on that platform. If I can get on that platform, well, who am I kidding? I'm never gonna beat this level. But I just want to know what's past the platform. It's like, what's in the box? Gotta know, man. Oh, I'm like one bullet per guy. The time. Let's try. You know what? It's that green guy. If I could kill him. A lot. Oh! Oh, man! I don't know how you're supposed to do it, man. It's gonna take a better gamer than me to figure it out. Guys, this has been Rolling Thunder. One of the games in the book, 1,000 video games you must play before you die. Classic arcade game that influenced a lot that came afterwards. In terms of playing it today, probably not, I'd say. I mean, if you're a fan of this one, like, of course you're going to want to go back and play it. But truthfully, it's like the amount of gameplay that's in here. I don't know if this would hold any modern gamer's attention. Sort of like a nice, simple little shooter, but it's very hard. And, yeah, it's just sort of, I think it's just showing its age. Again, not to disparage anyone who still likes it or plays it or has fond memories of it, but I'm just sort of thinking like, if someone who's never played this before from the year 2024, from our time, were to play this, like it literally reminds me of that scene from Back to the Future when, Marty shows the kids how to play a wild gunman. They're like, you got to use your hands. It's like a baby's toy. I don't think anyone would look at this and be like, wow, it's like a baby's game. It's so easy. In fact, people would probably be like, damn, this game is freaking hard. But I think they would say, man, it's so simple, right? So it's sort of got that, again, not a baby's toy. I'm not saying that, but you guys know what I'm saying. It's showing its age. Guys, what do you think of Rolling Thunder here? Is it the most awesome game that ever was and ever will be? Do you have fond memories of it? Tips or tricks? How could I have beaten the game? Let me know in the comments down below. And let me know about all your favorite TV shows. The ones that have been canceled, the ones that died too young, the ones that kept going too long, and everything in between. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll be back soon with yet another game from the book, 1,050 Games Just Play Before You Die. Till next time, my friends, you'll take care of yourselves. We will see you soon. Peace!